Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at this position. It is white to move and win, so feel free to pause the video for a while to try to figure out the answer on your own. Okay, so now the first move that comes to mind, for example, is to give this check. Now this move is good, but only if black blunders. So as you can see right now, black has 4 options. 3 of them actually loses and only 1 draws, and that is king to b6. But let's say, for example, he went king to b8 or king a8, it doesn't really matter. Then he can play a check, king moves here, and then after we push the pawn, if he played king to c7, we can promote to a queen. If he played rook to d5, we can also promote to a queen, and then he have to give the rook for the queen, and then we will win the game. But the problem with this move is that he can play king to b6, and once we push the pawn, he's going to play king to c7. We can try to get closer to this pawn. It doesn't really matter. He can play here, for example, rook to b5. We take this pawn. It's still not winning for white. And then all black has to do is just to play king to d8. As you can see, we're stopping the pawn from promoting. The white rook can never give a check because he will lose the pawn. And all we have to do is just to keep the rook on this. Now, because if you move the rook anywhere else, we're just restricting the king from ever trying to defend this pawn. So, as we can always do this, we will be fine. And it's going to be a draw. That's for black. So that's why this move doesn't work, because of king to b6. Now you might say, well, I want to push the pawn here and then promote. But the problem with this move, he can play rook here. So can I stop the rook from going to d5 and then I can push? Well, the problem with this idea that it's very slow. Black can play king to b7. You want to push, he's gonna attack you. If you want to give a check, he can possibly go here. You can push, but I can go to c7. And we can take this pawn. Again, the exact same thing happens. King to d8, and we have the exact same position. So the only move that is left, it is to push the pawn right away. And after black plays rook to d5, attacking the pawn, we have to do something about it. We have to defend this pawn because there's no way to win this without the pawn. So rook to h7, the only move to defend the pawn. Okay, now what? Now, if he just moved the rook, for example, it's going to be a check, discover check, and we're going to make a queen. That's why he needs to move the king. Okay? Now let's see what's going to happen. He can play many moves. For example, if he played king to b8, the reason this move is bad, because we can play king to e4, attacking this rook. And now the rook has to move, because if the rook moved anywhere else, we're going to promote to a queen. So the only square is to go here, rook to d6. Then we attack the rook one more time. If he moved the rook away, we're going to promote. And if he played king to c7, defending the rook, then we have double check. So check with the queen, check with the rook. He cannot take us. He needs to move the king or take this queen. And once he does that, we can take the rook. It will be checkmate in 1 in case he pushed. And if he did not push, for example, he moved here, then we can just go after the pawn, win it, and then that's going to be a winning endgame. But that's only after this move, d7, rook to d5, and rook to h7, and he plays king to b8. Okay, what happens if he played king to b6? Do we still attack him? Well, in this position, after king to b6, we can still attack the rook because we are still defending this pawn. Now, if black played the move rook to d6, I want you to pause the video for a while to try to see this tactic, really beautiful tactic, to try to promote this pawn. Okay, so now if we want to promote this pawn, we have to get this rook away from here. And we cannot do that by attacking it. We can actually do that, but again, actually he can play king to c5 here. And this will not be winning. He's defending the rook, we cannot push, and it's going to take us time. It's going to be a draw, actually. So, in this position, beautiful tactic is to play rook to h6, sacrificing the rook by pinning this rook. So now if he takes, we can promote to a queen. And if he decided not to take, for example, he went here, okay, defending the rook, we can still take it. Now we're threatening promote. If he takes, we promote. If he went here, for example, I guess we just take this pawn. He can still move, and then that's going to be a win, 100%. Okay, so after king to b6, we play king to e4, attacking this rook. Okay, so now, what if he played, for example, king to c5? King to c5, we have the exact same move, rook to h5, because we're trying to pin him, trying to pin the rook. And once he takes, we can promote to a queen. So that'd be cool. What if he went king to c6 in this position? Well, giving a check, he cannot take this pawn, he will lose the rook. If he went back here, then we can pin him. And if he went back here, he's going to lose the rook. So it's very obvious what will happen. Okay, what else? What else do we have? Okay, after this rook to h7, instead of king to b8 and king to b6, can he play king to b7? Well, the problem with this move, it stayed on the exact same rank as the rook. So now we can just promote to a queen, because this is a discovered check. So now the king moves, and this is obviously winning for white. So, and the entire idea of this is to go here to defend the pawn and then attack his rook. And once the king is so close to the rook, you can pin the rook to the king by sacrificing your rook, and then you will be able to promote to a queen and win the game. Hopefully you managed to solve this one. I think it's a really easy one, and I'll see you again with another one.